Hello, welcome to Forest Focus as the international break ends. The Nottingham Forest return to action in the FA Cup quarter-finals with a trip to Brighton. Joining us to discuss their resurgence after a certain 7-0 thrashing and give us a lowdown on the state of the Seagulls is our regular Brighton fan, as we've just recorded something on the Champions League and I had a dig about the 7-0. So that's two in about the space of 10 minutes. So I apologise for that, but good to have you with us. How are you doing?
You didn't waste any time either. You were straight in with it, and deservedly so. It was. I think I'm very brave for coming back on this after last time, where I think we both called a narrow result either way, right? And it was anything but.
I know. Well, you're super brave because one of your best mates will be referenced on who you do Black Box with is Mark Southerns, and I know you're going to this game.
Yeah,
and I think you shelled out for corporate as well, haven't you? So it could be a great day. It's going to be a great day for one of you, and it could be absolutely brutal for the other.
Yeah, we've talked about going to a Forest Brighton game for years, ever since we started doing Black Box, and there's always been something that's come up like for the league games. And then it worked out really well. As soon as we saw the quarterfinal draw, we were thinking, we've got to go to this one, and we thought we'd do it properly as well. And my girlfriend's going; she's going to be vlogging the experience as well. And Mark's going to be sat with the home fans, and he's going to be hating it if Forest score. So yeah, it should be fun.
Excellent. Well, we'll point people in the direction of that as well when it comes out, because I know a lot of our viewers watch you guys as well. We're looking forward to talking about that game, or this game in particular, but just putting some context into it. Obviously, I referenced the 7-0 game in jest, but it was a point where your season could have gone to absolute hell. You won 6 games in a row and drawn 1 since then. Talk to us about how you're feeling about where Brighton are at right now.
Do you know what? It's funny. We needed that result. We had been coasting for a while. We'd been getting stupid draws, poor performances. The team looked really unbalanced, and it looked like we were just going to run out a 10th or 11th place finish, and the season was over. And we were just treading water. And I think that result came at a perfect time, because there was still plenty of time left in the season to, have higher hopes and challenge for Europe. And I think if we just lost that game, there wouldn't have been too many eyebrows raised, because obviously Forest are a great team, but the manner of the performance and the result and the team selection, and I mean, there was a few things kind of, they had to do, but generally speaking, it was a lot of negativity on Brighton for pretty much the first time in the season, and question marks being raised on Hertzler, and how we responded has blown me away. It's been unbelievable, and some of the performances that we've had. I mean, against Chelsea, against Newcastle in the Cup, against Man City even last weekend, it just shows what we're about. And it's funny, you don't want to lose 7, particularly to Forest when I do the podcast with Mark, but I actually think it's a real turning point for us. So I'm looking at it positively.
Were you wavering? I mean, the thing that shocked me about that game from a Brighton point of view was genuinely like the worst game plan I've ever seen a manager come to the City ground with.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe it. Were you at that point wavering on Hertzler, or did you have faith in him to turn it around?
No. Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, we'd seen it early in the season. We got absolutely thumped by Chelsea 4-0 when Palmer got the 4 goals. And again, you looked at that game and thought, what are we doing? Like, why are we giving Palmer that much space? Why are we playing such a high line? And he tweaked things, and it got better since then. And I think that a similar thing happened against Forest. I mean, you bring in a manager that young, he's younger than me. It's ridiculous. And there's going to be mistakes that are made. And, circumstances were difficult in that game. We did have injuries. We had no midfield. Baleba picking up a bug like just before the game. Hinshelwood forced back into midfield when he just got back from injury. Key players were out and missing, and obviously the form wasn't good. So there was context around it. It's how you respond, isn't it? And it's that kind of cliche, but how we responded has been incredible. I was, if we coasted towards the end of the season in the top 10, I think I might be thinking, is he the right man? Is he really going to take us forward, given the amount of money we've spent and the talent we've got? But I have faith in him. I think he's a very, very talented manager. So looking forward to see what happens at the rest of the season.
What specifically did he change after that Forest game? Because obviously I see your defensive numbers have like really shot up. Has there been anything distinct that you've noticed that he changed since the Forest game?
Not really. I mean, we've cut down on the amount of possession that we've had. If you look at some of our big results, we're not dominating possession and not dominating the ball like we maybe tried to do at the start of the season. We had some good results playing that way at the start of the season, but now he's happier to kind of absorb and counter and sit back a little bit more. I think the Chelsea games were a perfect example of that, particularly the one in the league where that was one of our best performances of the season, but I think we only had about 30% possession in that game, something like that. But there was never really any point in that game where I thought Chelsea were going to score. And that hasn't really been Brighton in the last few years. We've never looked like a solid team, that teams struggle to break down. We look like a team that you can get at, but we'll score more goals than you, or we'll outplay you and not let you have the ball. So it was nice to see that we've got another arm to the way we can play. And I think particularly with Dunk being out for such a long period and Webster coming in, I mean, he's been so maligned by the Brighton fans for such a long period. Desperate calls for him to get out of the club, that he's not good enough. He's been a real credit. He's come in, he's done a great job. So he's taken players who maybe weren't performing that well at the start of the season, and I think he's used the 7-0 as a bit of a wake-up call to them. I think Pedro's a good example of that too. He'd been struggling, come back in, playing well, and yeah, tweak the tactics a little bit, and also got players performing at the levels they should be. They should be playing at.
One of the interesting dynamics about this game, and the thing that we've debated a lot on the podcast, is Champions League versus FA Cup and where the priorities lie. Obviously, your team's now right in the thick of the Champions League race. Are you viewing how are you viewing this game? Is it compatible to go for both? Are you worried about? Are you thinking rest players, or are you so close to Wembley you're like, go for it? How do you view this Champions League versus FA Cup situation?
I mean, getting the Champions League would be incredible, but let's be honest, we are not there yet. We wouldn't. Well, I mean, look at Villa. I would probably have said the same about Villa. They're obviously doing well and having a good run in it, but they're not going to win the Champions League, are they? They've done well to get to where they are. If you offered me FA Cup or top 4, top 5, I would take the cup all day, every day. Guaranteed silverware, like to take that and use that as a momentum to kick on for the next few seasons and build a really solid push for top 6 consecutively would be amazing. I think the Champions League would be a bonus for us. I would be very, very disappointed if we didn't get any form of Europe this season. Europa League, the Conference, Champions League. Obviously, I'd love to see us in the Champions League. It'd be amazing, but any form of Europe and the FA Cup would be a dream, like an absolute dream. So there won't be any resting of players. I'd be amazed. But we're going to go for it. And we've got such a good squad. Our squad is, arguably the best of all the teams that are competing for that top 4, top 5 position. And I include City in that. With the resources we've got and with the form of all the different players, it's hard to pick a starting 11 for the game. So there's players that can come in, and we can rest players, but we're not making massive downgrades to do so.
No, it's interesting. We'll talk about as is predicted 11. I want to pick his brains about just a couple of those players. Just before we do that, a reminder that this game is on TV, which means you can watch it at the Trent Navigation, Saturday the 29th of March, kickoffs 5:15. You can watch it at the 2 outdoor screens. There's screens throughout the pub. You can get your food there from the barbecue and pizza kitchen. So if you're not lucky enough to have a ticket, do enjoy it at the Nav. Cask ales are only £4 as well. And you can go to our live show where the price of tickets is next week. There's only £5 as well. So basically the price of a pint. So do check that out as well. We're recording this, a bit of a spoiler. We're recording this before the international break, just for scheduling and everything. So touch wood, no one's getting injured from either team, and we can both go in full strength.
We've got 23 players, I think, on international duty.
Yeah.
I know, it's crazy. Oh, I tell you, if we get injury to a Matoma or a Baleba or someone like that, then that'll be horrible. Hopefully it won't happen. Fingers crossed.
Do you think, this is a side question before I get to it, around, again, Champions League, winning trophies, Brighton's recruitment is interesting. In fact, I've seen your chief executive almost saying Baleba or Matoma will go at some point. Do you think how the next few weeks of this season will decide the look of your squad next season, or is that already set in stone with just the way Brighton operate?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a big squad. We made lots of signings in the summer. I think there was some players who maybe should have gone, like Adingra, for example. We got so many options on the right wing, but other than Minte, none of them really stand out. Solly March's obviously been injured and come back. But interesting to see if he's got a future at the club. Obviously, he's an absolute legend, and we all love him. But with Gruder, if he can kick on with Minte there, again, it feels like we're maybe a little bit too stacked on that side. In midfield, when we talk about predicted lineups, midfield is really difficult, especially that there's only 2 spots for central midfielders, and we've got an absolute abundance of players when they're fit that can play in that position. So Europe is key to keeping the team and keeping the squad. If we finish outside the European places, I can't see a lot of players who have been fringe players really over the last few months sticking around. I mean, O'Reilly, for example, I know he's had a few injuries, but where does he fit into the starting 11? He's not even. He's not there, but he wasn't bought to be a sub. And if he's not going to get opportunities in Europe, then he could be one that potentially leaves. But yeah, Mitoma and Baleba are the big money ones. They're the ones that could easily go for 100 million or nearabouts. Mitoma maybe a little bit less. I genuinely think Baleba is a £100 million player. Mitoma would probably take 60, 70.
Yeah, because there was the Saudi thing with Matoma. I don't follow Brian obviously as closely as you do. I don't know how much was in that, but there was, he could have gone to Saudi. Did he? Was he not interested? I don't know what the situation was.
Yeah, my take on it was he didn't push for a move there. The offer came in. He wasn't overly sold on it, and why would we sell our best player? Arguably our best player with the season we've got. The trouble is as well at left wing, we haven't got anyone really that can come in. You sell him for 70 million, we would have to buy another winger. And in January, who's available? How much is that going to cost? It's going to disrupt the squads. If the same offer comes in the summer and he shows an interest in moving, I think there's more higher likelihood that it happens and we cash in on him. But I reckon Bloom is already drafting up a list of potential replacements, probably from South America for about £5 million to come in and potentially replace him, because I wouldn't be surprised if he left in the summer, to be fair.
Yeah, well, that's the gimmick that we're trying to steal from you as well. But yeah, different
So
conversation.
he doesn't go to Chelsea. I'll be okay with it. Let's put it that way.
I saw another thing about Chelsea. You're looking at your medical team or something like that. I don't know, even more fringe robbery.
He bought the wrong club, Bowley. I think he might as well have just bought us.
God, I don't know what he'd done with Brighton, the way he's working with Chelsea. Yeah. Different conversation again. Give us, if you would, and again with the caveat, this is before the international break, give us your very rough predicted 11 for this game v Forest. Then
it's a tough one. There's obviously certain positions that pick themselves. Verbruggen in goal. I don't know if Dunk's going to be back, but the centre backs will probably be Van Heck and Webster again, which is. They've done well. Webster does still worry me a little bit. I think he's not as bad as everyone seems to make out he is, but that's probably the position where we need to bring in a top quality centre back to partner with Van Heck. Fullbacks is interesting as well. Hopefully Veltman's back on the right. Estupiñán had a great performance against City, got the goal, but Lamptey's been playing really well, so I don't know who plays there. And it might even be Hinchelwood at right back again. He was. We talk about Baleba and Mitoma. Hinchelwood, 19 years old. He is unbelievable, and I can't believe he hasn't been called up to England. Over Henderson and so. There's a problem in central midfield for England at the moment, and the versatility he's got, the work rate he's got, the passing he's got. He can score goals. He's got the whole package. He's an incredibly underrated player, and if you're looking at midfield and thinking, okay, we've got Baleba and Gomez there, I want Hinchelwood in the team too. So he's going to have to come in at right back, but then he's going to oust Veltman, who's been one of our best players this season, and that's that squad depth that I'm talking about. It's hard to know exactly who is going to play, but Hinchelwood gets in the team somewhere. It's just in which position. And then the other big call is who starts up front. Is it Pedro or was it Welbeck? Pedro was rubbish for ages and is looking back to back on form, but Welbeck is Danny Welbeck again, one of our best players this season. So big decision to make for Hertha in that spot too.
Don't talk about Jordan Henderson. I don't do rants on this channel normally, but I did do when Gibbs White didn't get called up and Henderson did, and there's 4 keepers in the squad. It made me worry about Tuchel already. So hopefully we're wrong, but yeah, that was awful.
Hinchelwood, you can quote me on it. Hinchelwood will be a England regular in the next 4 to 5 years. The staple of the team. He's that good.
So. Yeah,
and I was wrong about Barco. I'll admit that. But Jack Hinchelwood is an unbelievable player, and he should be in the team this time out. So, but he's not. It's disappointing.
Let me ask you about a few of the players that we've mentioned there. I mean, when the way we play and the way we're playing at the moment, see, our wingers are on fire, the fullbacks are key. Estupiñán's such an interesting one because it looked like 2 years ago he was absolutely flying. Where's he at right now in his career in terms of performances this season, would you say?
He's a funny player because he was getting a lot of attention a few years ago. You know, really attacking, scored some amazing goals. There was always some question marks around his defending in a lot of games that I saw him play in. And if I'm being honest, I didn't really think he had much of a future under Hertzler because Lamptey had switched over to the other side because of Veltman's form. I thought he's ropey in the kind of defensive play. And he wasn't really offering a lot when I saw him in matches getting forward. I think he's improved massively in all aspects of his game over the last few weeks. It's nice to see a player who takes a challenge like that and, you know, doesn't just accept that he's, you know, going to get sold in the summer or whatever and downs tools. He's looked to make a step up, and that's happened to quite a lot of our players, particularly since the 7-0. And this is what I'm talking about. I think particularly since then he's come in and done a really good job. Would I play him over Lamptey? Because Lamptey's been great on that left side as well. I think it's a coin flip between them. But it's nice to have options because I'm pretty sure last time I came on here, or even early in the season, I said with Kadioglu out, left back is a really weak position for us. But with those two playing the way they are, it's a bit of a strength now.
Yeah, massively. We last time you were on, we spoke about Belieber and players like that. So let me ask you about you touched on João Pedro there, Welbeck, Ruta, those players. I mean, João Pedro drives me a bit mad, but that's from a fantasy league point of view. I think a lot of us had him for that run where he couldn't hit a barn door. He looks like he's in form now. That trifecta I mentioned there, is it 2 from 3 then? Ruta, Welbeck, and Pedro to start.
Yeah, it has to be. And like I couldn't tell who's going to start. It would be a real shame to drop Ruta the way he's been playing, and it's not just. He's been scoring a couple of goals, and you know he's not a player who I think is going to hit, you know, massive highs of goal scoring. He's a bit wayward, let's say, with some of his shooting, but he brings a lot to the team. And again, that energy in midfield, he makes up a really strong part of that. And when you've got Hinchwood in there, or Gomez, or Belabor, and you're looking at any combination of those players, they're going to out work rate any midfield in the league pretty much. I think along with Newcastle's as well. You look at that, I compare it similarly to that. It's such a strong midfield. It just gives you such a good platform to work from. I would be very surprised if Rutte was dropped for the cup game, given how important he's been to the run we've been on. So I think it's one of Welbeck or Pedro up top. I think it's probably going to be Pedro, but I mean there is obviously international break and knocks and things, so Welbeck's going to be rested over the break, so it might lean towards Welbeck, but yeah, not who knows, could be either of them.
Just lastly to finish, obviously you'll watch a lot of us. Any areas of the game where you think this one will be won and lost based on our strengths and weaknesses versus your strengths and weaknesses? Again,
I said it last time, and it proved to be the case. The wings, I think, are so vital. I think we've both got very strong wingers. You know, Hudson-Odoi I've been really impressed with layly. Obviously, Elanga, what a performance he put in against Ipswich and against us, typically, as well. And up against our fullbacks, if we do go with Lamptey and Estupiñán, for example, I'd favour your wingers. I think it'd be good for us to bring Veltman in or bring Hinchwood in to offer a bit more defensive kind of acumen versus those two. So that's going to be a really, really key battle. But then our wingers as well are great. And Matoma and Minte up against Aina and William. I mean, Neco Williams, I mean, I don't know what has happened to him this season. He's just been absolutely unbelievable since he got back in the side. I thought Moreno had that spot locked down, but Williams has been unreal. So yeah, battle of the fullbacks and the wingers, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens down there. And yours definitely got the better of us last time, but yeah, hopefully we can switch it around this time out.
We shall see. We shall see. If you've enjoyed this, do us a favour, hit like, hit subscribe. Do consider membership, where you get early access to all these kind of pre-recorded videos, or just a lovely 5-star review. on Apple or Spotify. Right, good luck for the game. Hopefully Mark's not too intolerable if we do win, but yeah,
Well, he is
good luck
normally.
for it.
Just not another 7-0 or penalties. I don't think I can handle a penalty shootout. Anything else will be all right.
I mean, I'm tempting fate here. I've come to love a Forest penalty shootout. I don't know what's happened, but I don't know if you've seen our penalties. They're
I
like
know.
unbelievable.
It's one of the reasons why I don't want one. I don't think we'll win it. To be fair, I haven't got the stomach for a penalty shootout. Let's just settle it in normal time. It's fine. Although I would get a little bit more time in the hospitality, bar.
Yeah.
So maybe it would be different.
I've not got a pet stomach for a penalty shootout. I don't think in the ground. Watching them on TV is different.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the last one I saw in the ground was the playoff semi-final against Sheffield United, where the whole destiny and future of our football club rested on those penalties. So
yeah, no thanks.
yeah,
No thanks.
no.
I couldn't be dealing with that.
Hopefully not. Hopefully it's settled in 90 minutes. Right. Thanks to Az. We shall catch up with him, next season, obviously, because we're both going to be in the Premier League. So do check out Black Box with Az and Mark every Thursday. But in the meantime, thank you very much to Az. Have a good day, everyone. And if we don't see you tomorrow when this comes out, we shall see you soon.